Okay, today it's a very important topic and something which you hear it. Maybe it's the first time that I am doing this topic. Though I have done this scripture before, but this is important. The topic is called Finding the Right Direction in Life. This topic has been covered by us in another course of ours, if you remember, how to find the right direction. But in this, the importance of this question and answer which is there in chapter 10 of the of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, is going to give us some understanding about this subject which is called finding the right direction for ourselves. So this was just an introduction for you to understand that if you listen to it carefully, you are going to find meaning in it. Another understanding I will give you. Let us say you have old gold jewelry with you. You know, your forefathers, your grandmother, somebody has left behind some jewelry and it is pure gold. Now what you do is you cannot use that jewelry because it is already become black and it is not looking nice and it is old fashioned. So what do? You take it to a jeweler and the jeweler melts it. He melts it and he uses a lot of chemicals and stuff like that and purifies this gold. So there are these, I'm sure you have heard that in India we have these places and in China also where the old gold which is there inside your cell phones and other places is extracted and purified into 24 karat gold. So this lesson which we are going to do is exactly like this. Today human beings have got contaminated by the nature outside and we have become some different person. It is time for us to go back to the roots and understand the essence of why we have to become purified like this gold. So let us start with this new chapter today. So we are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9. Sri Sukdev said, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following: the creation of the universe, the sub-creation, planetary systems, protection by the Lord, the creative impetus, the change of Manus, the science of God, returning home, back to Godhead, liberation, and the Samambonam, sum total of it all. So these are 10 statements which we have to follow step by step. So let us start from the beginning. The first words are the creation of the universe. So at the beginning of time, those who know that the earth is supposed to be 7.5 billion years old. Some of you know this. Our universe is older than that maybe. We don't know. So now think of the time when everything came from a point source. It just exploded into this whole universe. So we are going to that time. Now when that time was there, it just came about by the will of God. If you remember Sri Krishna saying, before anything happened, I was already there. So this is an eternal being who existed before time and there was nothing over there before, and from nothing he created something from his own body. And where did he create? In his own being he has created this universe. An example for you would be how a baby gets created in the womb. So there is a basic womb over there. That womb doesn't have anything in it. There is nothing there as of now. And then the egg is released. Then the sperm comes in contact with this egg. There is a fertilization. Then an embryo is formed. The embryo grows in size. It is held in a sac. And then at the right moment, it is out there in the world. This is the various steps that happens up to birth. Think on the same lines as how nothing was there in the universe at the beginning of time. So we assume that there was nothing there. And the first thing that happened was the creation. Now the creation came from a space which is within the womb. Now think about this, what I said. Where is the womb? It is within a woman, isn't it? So think on those lines. This womb of this creation where the child is getting created is within the divine Lord itself. It's a way of looking at it. Think on those lines. And then the sub-creation happened. What is the sub-creation? In the sub-creation, the elements that are required for the basic union are getting manufactured, are getting put up in place. So there is the ovary which is making those egg cells. And when they are matured, they come down, right? Fallopian tubule and all that, they come inside the womb. And here we have the sperms getting created. And when both of them meet together, something happens. So before anything has happened, like the transaction has happened, these elements need to be in place, correct? So these are called the elements which have to be already existing. And that is the sub-creation. The planetary system. Now what is the planetary system? When the child has to be born, do you want the parents to be there? Do you want a house to be there? Do you want the child's entire world to be around existing or no? Otherwise, what is the reason for creating that child? Are you getting what I'm saying or no? So the food is already in place. The food is already in place. The crib is already in place. Crib is a place where the child has to be put. The people are already in place who are going to be providing for the child, or maybe they're going to look after that child. They are already in place. A house is in place. Money is in place. Everything, all these points that we are mentioning, they all have to be available for that child's coming. Right? So, if I have to buy something, let us say I am buying a vacuum cleaner, but I don't have a house to clean. What is the point of buying a vacuum cleaner when I have no house to clean? I am buying a pair of glasses for a blind person. What is the point of buying a pair of glasses for a blind person? I hope you are getting the picture. So these are important points which we have to understand how God has helped this entire thing to be in place. Right? So the mother's womb is important. The food that is provided is important. The food after birth also has to be getting ready. Right? So many things have to be absolutely in place. So the planetary system was already there, kind of. So who is going to be where? Already we had taken into account. Now I want you to think of the process of planning. See, when you plan something, isn't this plan supposed to cover almost all these points? So anything in life that you want to do, first we got to have a blueprint, a plan in place. If I don't have a plan in place, what is the point in having a baby when there is no plan in place? You know, most of the parents in this world today, they say, oh, the child happened by mistake. Have you heard these words being said? No child happens by mistake. Please understand this. The God has already created those things, except that you are blind to not see those things in place. People actually do not understand this. See, I am not talking philosophy. I am also talking practicality over here. Please remember these words. Because these same principles are to be applied in your material world also. I am giving you material worldly examples. Think, every human being has to go to the right place at the right time. And the direction has to be correct. Right? You know, in some cases, you will find that if the egg which is supposed to come down starts moving upwards, isn't it a problem? There are lots of people in this world who has that PCOS or PCOD, whatever they call it. Sometimes there is a defect in the system. So if there is a defect in the system, there is no childbearing for that person. So first we have to get rid of that defect and make it straightforward. So if there are any difficulties in the life, we have to first sweep them away. We have to eliminate that process. I want you to think how Srimad Bhagavatam is talking about these things. Isn't it important to create that entire thing in such a manner? So God created all these things in place. We will see second and third verse also. It's very interesting. Then He created protection by the Lord. Think, when the child is in the womb, is it under the protection or no? See, the womb is literally like a protective covering, isn't it? And inside that is the placenta and all those kind of things. Already there is a tubule which is feeding the child. Everything has to be perfectly placed or no? So the protection of the child is also taking care, isn't it? Think on those lines. When the child is coming out healthy, the protection has to be in place. Everything needs to be done in a systematic manner. Way back in time, before the First World War, there was a system. And the system was, when the child delivery was happening, the doctors would do it and the child would be dead, or either the mother is dying or the child is dying. Many years later, they found out that the person who is delivering the child is not washing his hands. He is not making them pure. You have to wear gloves and your hand has to be absolutely clean. Have you seen the doctors when they enter the OT, the operation theatre? They are not touching anything. Somebody is tying their apron, they are putting their gloves in place, and then they go like this with their hands up in the air. The reason is because purity is important. Got the point or no? So this purity is so critical for this. So everything has to be in place. So protection has to be provided first. So the place where the child is going to come has to be clean, neat. A person who is used to behaving in a very obnoxious manner, think, if there is a woman or a man in that place and they are not used to washing their clothes properly, or they use the same dirty clothes, or if they keep their entire room dirty, they are not used to cleaning their house, Are they giving protection to the child? No. So we have to ensure that the child has to be protected before it is born. Correct? So in a similar manner, God provides protection before the creation of this whole universe. That means He must have put so many laws in place. Think about it. The gravitational law, this law, that law, centrifugal forces, centripetal forces, how many things? Got it or no? So this is how we have to see. Then, the creative impetus. What is the creative impetus? Do you remember the woman gets contractions? How many of you know this? The contractions come in a fashion, and these contractions come at a time in certain intervals. What are these intervals? These intervals are defined by God. It gives you a heads up. A heads up. Things are now going to start happening. So here, God has given this creative impetus. He has started putting everything in its own place. And the sun is about to burst out. The universe is about to burst out. Everything is supposed to just happen at that moment in time. And the designated place is also prescribed. Perfect place is also written. How beautiful this creation must be. Imagine, already He has created a space. Okay, Milky Way, you go over here. Andromeda, you go over there. Can you imagine this? Sun, our solar system, you be here. And around you, this is going to work. Earth will have one moon. Other planets will have some moons, some will not have. How beautiful is that? Every orbit is already defined. Human beings forget this thing in their life. What is the thing that they forget in life? They forget that God has already created designated spaces, people, places and things for that child and for that person. You may think, I am getting married to this person. You are mistaken. Already designated person is there for you. You got the point or no? Where are you going to stay? That is also designated. How are you going to have the earning and living? That is also in place. I mean, you can imagine how intricate this system must be. Srimad Bhagavatam is going to give us this understanding. It is not some crazy book. It is actually the secret sauce of everything. That is why the chapter name is Bhagavatam is the answer to all your questions. Can you see the name of this chapter also? The creative impetus is given. Then the manus, all the manus that come. Manus means the first man, by the way. Something that comes first. Every yuga, there is a different manu. Alright? You know, the 4 yugas are there. Every manavantara, every manavantara, there is one new manu. That means manu is there. Now I want you to think about it. How old is your civilization? Oh, we first came about because of the dinosaurs, and then this happened, and then that happened. And then million years ago, something happened. And then so many thousands of years ago, something else happened. Oh my God, you are forgetting something. I want you to think. I want you to pay attention and think very carefully what I am going to say. Let us say you are taking coffee. You know coffee. Now when you take coffee, what happens? You are mixing some things in it. I am talking about the Indian coffee, okay? So let us not mix it up with what you get in Starbucks or anything like that. So in the Indian coffee, we put, the milk is there, some water is there, and then that decoction or something is there. And some sugar and all. Now I want to ask you this. Let us say the decoction is there at the bottom, The decoction is there at the bottom and then I am pouring milk on top of it. How does that mix around? It mixes around, isn't it? Right? The sugar gets mixed, the milk gets mixed, the coffee gets mixed, so on and so forth. Now let us say you don't drink the coffee. After some time you will find that things start settling down at the bottom. Right? When they start settling down at the bottom, you will find that on top there are layers formed. Different layers. I again stir it up. When I stir it up, maybe I heat it. Heating also is stirring. So then again the cycle starts. Right? But at the end of the cycle, what happens? Everything that is solid, which is there in this world, settles at the bottom only. I ask you this question. Do you think our earth we are the first human beings on this planet earth? Or do you think billion years ago also there must have been somebody? At the end of that yuga, there must have been some yugas. The churning must have happened. Let us go back to the first gold. You remember gold? I started my satsang with gold. Today, if I go to some place, I find gold deposits in one place. Inside the earth, somewhere it is there. Correct? Now, I want you to think. Is the earth a very active place or no? Are there volcanoes? Are there earthquakes? Are trees coming about, lands, this, that, everything is happening constantly or no? I want you to go back a billion years. I'm not talking 7.5 billion, I'm just saying a billion years. Do you think a billion years ago also there must have been some civilization or no? Now when you think about it, I guess there must have been civilizations and civilizations and civilizations. But we have only covered, when we do the archaeological testing and that, we have only covered a certain layer, isn't it, on top? If I have to go deeper inside, then what happens? I will come across another civilization which is not even connected to ours. And if I go still deeper, what will happen? So we may say, the scientist will say, no, there is this layer and then there is that layer. No. Think about it. How did these layers come about? A simple theory of mine will tell you, today there are billions of phones around the world. Is that correct? Billions of phones around the world. When you are buying a new phone, what happens to the old one? You sell it or you chuck it away. It goes to some place where they remove the parts from there. The gold is removed and some other things are removed. And they are recycled. And they are again made into something very unique. This uniqueness is extremely important. And this gold is a recycled gold, but it is again put into ingots and then it is marketed in this place. The cycle continues, isn't it? I want you to think very carefully. Do you think something like this must have happened? It's a wild imagination. But when God created this whole thing, this recycling has happened millions of times, not just a few times. You think your civilization is the first? Sorry, who told you that? Your yardstick is only this much. But 7.5 billion years is still there. Some scientist will say, no, you don't understand anything. But yours is a narrow way of thinking. I think there must have been so many Manavantras. So many Manavantras. I don't even know. I am not even qualified because my brain is toasted just now, thinking about all these things. So there are Manus which we don't know about. There are these beautiful creatures from the past. You may think that this is the only elephant I am seeing just now. Oh, he has come from mammoth. No, who told you that? Some past generations, somewhere down that, there must have been elephants also. The genetic structure existed even in the million or billion years ago. We don't know anything. We are tiny, just very tiny dots on this planet Earth. So, the change of Manus has happened. The science of God. Who is God? Where does he stay? What does he do? Some intelligent people, these are called sages and saints. Do you think the sages and saints were not there in the past? They were there not only during this Manu of ours, but the previous Manu and the previous Manu and the previous Manu, every Manu who came about, further up down the line, there were these great sages and saints also. They thought about the science of God. They came up with their own theories. Some of them had practical knowledge and experience also. That is why they are called sage. See, a wise person is not necessarily a sage. A sage is a person who has experience of God. A wise person may not have experience of God. A wise person could be Socrates, could be Aristotle. But Socrates and Aristotle never had experience of God. Whereas the sage in India is an intelligent person, but he had experience of God. This is the difference between the Western civilization and what we are teaching over here. I hope you get this difference. So, the science of God, returning home, the cycle getting complete once again. Back to Godhead. When you return, you are going back to the same place where you came from. See, the cycle completes. You are born, then you die, and somewhere in the end of all those yugas, you are going back to that one single place where you came from. That is, and then there is liberation also. Liberation is nothing to do with going back to Godhead. Liberation means getting mukti, terminating everything over here. And the sum total of all. So we'll do the next verse now. I hope this verse gave you some amount of thinking, a process of actually visualizing how this whole thing came about. Verse 2. To isolate the transcendence of the Samam Bonam, the symptoms of the rest are described sometimes by Vedic inference, sometimes by direct explanation, and sometimes by summary explanation given by the great sages. So how do you actually total this entire knowledge? The totality of all this knowledge, whatever that is there, has to be proven somewhere down the line, isn't it? You want proof of it, isn't it? You will say, oh, Guruji is talking nonsense. No. It is written. How did this proof of the pudding come about? The proof of the pudding, how did this happen? This came about in certain manner, isn't it? It is defined sometimes in the Vedic inference. In the Vedas, there is a lot of information given. The Vedas came before time. Before time. Your time is only this yuga, isn't it? Your time is only this yuga. We are only thinking of our own Manvantara. We are not thinking from the beginning of time. How many Manvantaras have happened? Many, many, many. When they talk of Atlantis and the lost, continent and all those kind of things, you think that lost continent was not known? Even before, when, this patch of land which came from Africa and banged into Asia, you think there was nothing over there before, is it? So when the land was in Africa, do you think nothing was happening there? There were civilizations there also, except that you don't know. Your knowledge is only so much in length. When you go deeper into it, you will understand. So the Vedic inference is there from the beginning of time. Except that Veda interpretation cannot be done by average human beings. Please remember this. Vedas are the deepest knowledge. It's not easy for a human being to interpret the Vedas. You need the power of the divine to interpret it. The divine himself will have to come and explain the Vedas to you. Otherwise, nobody can understand. Are you getting what I'm saying? So there is described in the Vedic inference, sometimes by the direct explanation. God himself will come and offer you the explanation. See, I am telling you so. The divine Lord himself comes and says these words. I am telling you so, believe in what I am saying. And the third, sometimes it is given as an explanation by the sages. The sages are in direct connect with God, isn't it? So these sages will come and tell you about these things. So these are the three methods in which knowledge can be transferred, can be transported. So today you have to start believing in one of them at least. I hope you get the point. Either you believe in the Vedas or you believe God has given this knowledge on his own, or the third one, the sages are telling the truth. One of these things you have to start believing in. Otherwise, you are going to become like all these Neil deGrasse Tyson people. Please understand this. You are not going to be believing in God at all. Then you are going to become an atheist, and then you are going to start questioning nonsensical stuff. We are talking about eons and eons and eons of things. Verse 3 says the elementary creation of 16 items of matter, that is the 5 elements, fire, water, land, air and sky, sound, form, taste, smell, touch, and the eyes and the ears and the nose, tongue, skin and mind is known as sarga. Whereas the subsequent resultant interaction of the modes of material nature is called visarga. Now these are two terms we need to understand. The creation of the basic elements, okay? That means if I have to take base elements, hydrogen, just think like that. Hydrogen is there, helium is there, right? The reaction of this energy creates from hydrogen to helium. And then another reaction happens, it again converts back helium into hydrogen. And then the cycle continues, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Correct? I want to ask you this. Where did hydrogen go? He became helium. Where did helium go? He became hydrogen. Where did hydrogen go? He became helium. You know, this cycle goes on forever. Isn't it? People are thinking someday the cycle will stop. This world will come to an end. Who told you that? See, your theories which we are thinking are related to that narrow sense of knowledge that you have, that little knowledge that you have. But this is the entire knowledge. Nobody understands this knowledge. It's not easy for an average human being to even think on those lines. Like we have someone over here getting a headache. Similarly, your headache, you're going to blow your brains out, thinking on these lines. It is going to be so difficult. So here, the 16 elements are there. Now what do they do? These are the base elements, like hydrogen is a base element. Similarly, when the creation was happening, there were some base elements which came into the picture. When you do the Tattva Bodh, you will understand these elements. So there are basic elements. These are fire, water, land, air and sky. Okay, this is where we started. Then we had sound, form, taste, smell, touch. How are they converted into eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin and the mind? 16 in all. These are base. I want you to think like this now. A child is born. He is blind. Can he see anything when after birth? No. A child is born deaf. The ears are there, but the sound is not translating into his brain. So that thing is the basic element. The basic element is sound. The basic element is hearing. Sound, hearing. Got it? Vision, seeing. Vision, seeing. Got it? Object, eyes. Eyes, vision, seeing. These are how they work on. Now, when these two mix together, when the seeing is mixing with vision, seeing, mixing with vision gives an answer what the object is. Is that correct or no? Right? Now, there is an aroma in the air. Aroma. Somebody is frying something. Say French fries or, bhajia. Fritters. Are you getting the smell? Yes. So aroma is there, but let us say you don't have the sense of smell. What happens? You are missing out on something. So two things are required. The aroma is required, sense of smell is required, then the next thing happens. Correct? So object, seeing, vision, converting it into some object in your life, correct? So there is a rose, object. It is visible. I can see it, vision. I am deciphering it. So this thing is called mixing. What is it called? Mixing. Alright? So the aroma mixes with the sense of smell. Sense of smell mixes with the mind, saying that this is a smell of fritters. Got it? Rose, vision. The rose is a picture over there. The vision, it's going inside my eyes, goes to the brain, deciphers it. It's a rose. This is deciphering it. So this second thing, the first one was the basic concept. Those elements, they are called sarga. S-A-R-G-A, sarga. Mixing of each and every to create another thing is called visarga. Visarga. Alright? So these terms we should know because we are going to go ahead in the game now. Today I don't think I will have the time to continue, but we will try to our level best to do as much as we can. So now think about it. Womb, egg, sperm, fetus, child. Long steps, child is born. The whole thing has come out. When it comes out, is it called nisarga? Nature. So what comes about is nisarga. Nature. Mixing is called visarga. And the basic elements is called sarga. I hope you got this whole thing. Okay? So we are going to understand this step by step by step by step by step. Why are we doing all this nonsense? You may ask, Guruji, why do you have to toast my brain? The reason why we have to toast your brain is because you have to become knowledgeable. Knowledgeable about God. Back to Godhead. Do you remember that line saying? Back to Godhead. We have to go back to the knowledge. Who is this God? Why are we here? What is the reason? So we are going in a direction. Have you seen the direction how we are taking? So now let us see the next verse. Okay. So we are doing Canto 2, Chapter 10, verse 4. The right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of Sri Krishna. The manus and the laws are meant to give the right direction in life. The impetus for activity is a desire for fruitive work. Here, these laws were created at the beginning of time. Do you remember this? The Vedas and the laws, the Manu created the laws and all those things. If you were to follow those laws very, very religiously, when you follow the laws religiously, taking into account that these have been written by the Divine Lord itself, you will have peace of mind because God is going to be there in your pathway. You are anyway going to meet God, isn't it? So you will have the peace of mind. But if you are not to follow these laws, then these laws which you are not following is going to degrade you. Degrade you. Let me give you an example over here. Now this example is very live example. Many years ago, there was a priest in a chapel. Now this priest he was a gardener also. So he would lay out a garden also. And his main job was to priesthood. So he had sown peonies, those flowers that you get, the colored flowers that you get. They had sown these peonies. So they were white in color, they were red in color, they were yellow in color, they were blue in color, all different colors were there. And he was a very avid gardener. So one day he saw that instead of white and red, the flowers were becoming pink. And in another patch he saw the flowers were becoming orange. So he studied very deeply. How did this happen? And this priest came up with the theory of genetics. He was the first person to come with the theory of genetics. Later on, followed by many other scientists. And today, genetics is a very, very important thing in our life also, isn't it? Now, I want you to understand one thing. Why did I bring this subject up? This subject was brought up because when somebody doesn't follow the law of God, what happens over there? Think. There is a couple. They had two children. They have two children. There is a boy and then there is a girl. This girl is autistic. Very autistic. When she grew up, the parents thought it is their duty to get their daughter married. And the autistic child, I am calling it a child because Please understand, even if the person is 25 or 30 years old, the brain is still of a 5-year-old, isn't it? So he got married. 2 days ago, the mother calls up and says, I want blessings of Guruji. My daughter is pregnant. I want you to understand this. Marriage, pregnancy, childbearing, there is already a defect in the system. So when I was told about this, I said, as per the law of genetics, maybe this generation may not have a defect, the coming generation, but the next generation is bound to have a defect. Can you understand the laws of nature? Why are you going against the law of nature? Our ancients had described this law so beautifully. Imagine a person of an Indian descent marrying a European. What happens to their genetic makeup? Imagine a black American marrying a white American. What happens to their descent? The defect in the genes is 100% going to be there. The future is going to be bleak. There are so many diseases and there are so many things which are going to go wrong. This was already described way back in the past. In India, we have a system of matching kundali. The charts, And the parents find a groom or their daughter. This is a system followed by people. And it goes on. Human beings don't like the system. So they have gone against Nisarga, the law of nature. So the defect came into the system. Today every second person that is going to be born defective. You cannot change it. So every generation that is created by the mixing of the genes is not going to produce a stronger gene. On the contrary, it's going to create more disturbances in the system. Think on those lines. So here, the reason for having the peace of mind is to follow the laws of God which have been given to us. God has been kind enough to say, here is the law, please follow it to the T. Get up in time, sleep in time, do your work in time, study hard, be very truthful. Those are the basic stuff, to be a good human being. Isn't that what he has said? So the direction which you are supposed to take in life has to be always upwards, isn't it? Whereas human beings love to go downwards. They become lazy. They don't want to do anything. They are destroying not only themselves but the future generations to come. Do you think this is not happening? It is happening. When I look at somebody, I can see the parents are the one responsible for the defect in the child. And maybe in some way, the child may be good. The child may get good knowledge. What happens to that child's further generation? Because the grandparents are going to be such a lazy bone or worthless people, they have not even lifted their fingers, or they have had developed such dirty habits, the grandchildren are going to suffer very badly. You are the precursor of the future generation. If you have a child, Please do not misbehave with the child or your own self. Because if you really want to create a better generation and you want to be responsible for something nice happening in this world, don't go and destroy that peace by disobeying the laws given by the Divine Lord. So the laws have been written and they have to be very religiously followed. Today's parents have become so stupid. I heard about a woman, she doesn't want to cook. And because she doesn't want to cook, she has put her young child in a school where they are providing for the breakfast, lunch also. I mean, just imagine, she has removed this child from a very good school where she had to send her, the tiffin for the child. And this is an American system which they have come to, a new school where they are going to provide for the breakfast, they are going to provide for the lunch and everything. So this woman doesn't want to work at home, so she has sent the child to this school so that she doesn't have to cook. I want you to think about it. What kind of an idiot this woman is? With every new generation that is coming about, we are getting ready to cook and ready to eat food. It's the most dangerous thing in the world. Your genes are getting defective by the day. The oils that are used, they are the seed oils. Don't you know that? In these schools, they are giving the seed oil. Some of them are using palm oil. What are we leading up to? So these are called the laws of God. Every human being has been given a law. And it is important. The right situation for the living entities is to obey the law of God, Lord, and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna will ensure everything works out fine. The manus and the laws are meant to give the right direction in life. Today everybody is against that. The whole world is against these laws. They are saying this is the modern generation. What modern generation are we talking about? Wearing clothes the way they are supposed to be worn? Like, look at the people outside. Look at these people on TikTok and Instagram. You are ashamed of looking at them also. But no, the world enjoys it. Literally, prostitution is like, it's there right in front of your face. Why is it so? Drugs. They are right there in your face. The high life that they are leading. Liquor. This, that, so many things. These laws of Manu have been written so that you can get a right direction. The right direction is extremely important. The impetus for activity is a desire for fruitive work. You are doing fruitive work, isn't it? Some people are working in companies and all that. So this fruitive work is going to give you some answers, some money and something like that. The push is coming from that direction. So we will be stopping over here and tomorrow we will continue in this question and answer thing which is very critical for all of us.